Hello everybody, my name is Brianna Bilo, and I'm a meteorologist here with the National Weather Service office in Grand Junction, Colorado. And this is your December 2022 monthly climate summary. Story of the month: mid-month Arctic air mass. You thought November was cold. Hold your horses. The month of December was the beginning of meteorological winter, as you've probably saw in the seasonal climate summary. And it really did not wait at all to remind everyone that it's winter now. The entire month was characterized by an unsettled colder pattern that put eastern Utah and western Colorado right under a pretty active storm track. The mountains continually getting snow, and even the valleys by the end of the month were also seeing snow. But the other thing that this unsettled pattern brought was a mid-month Arctic cold blast. I'm sure most of you heard about it, experienced it. Obviously, the center of the country and into the northeast got it significantly worse than a lot of us did here. The Rocky Mountain ranges kind of helped shunt that cold air to our east, but we did see some really brutally cold air across mainly northwest Colorado, where it did manage to kind of seep in. The period of the 16th to the 19th saw low temperatures that were in the single digits above zero all the way down into the negative 20s, with Craig, which is one of our climate automated observation stations at the airport there, actually was the coldest spot with a morning low of negative 21 on the 19th. Obviously, it's not the coldest that they've ever gotten, but it's pretty darn close. I think last year their coldest temperature for the whole year was negative 25. So, pretty cold. And our little graphic here was a little bit of a PSA about how to dress for this really brutally cold weather. The other thing that happened with this air mass is that there was actually snow across northwest Colorado, which also helped to bring those temperatures down as low as they got and hold them there for a couple of days, where the rest of like the central valleys and as far down as the cold air was able to filter, really only saw that brutally cold air for maybe one morning, maybe two, before it began to moderate again because there wasn't as much snow on the ground. As far as our high temperatures, the warmest high of the month was 57 degrees in Cortez on the 1st, and the coldest high of the month was 36 degrees in Vernal on the 2nd. And all of these temperatures occurred right around the 1st or the 2nd. So while the month of November ended with the coldest temperatures of the month, the month of December began with the warmest temperatures of the month. Vernal is actually so much colder because they got significant snow with some of the November storms. And as I mentioned previously, having that snow on the ground helps to keep temperatures colder. It also helps to set up valley inversions, which keep things cloudier, which also permits these much colder temperatures. Vernal was pretty cold and gloomy for the month. As far as our coldest temperatures of the month, though, the warmest, coldest temperature was Grand Junction on the 18th and the 19th, again during that Arctic cold spell we had, and it was 9 degrees. While the coldest cold temperature, as I mentioned previously, was in Craig on the morning of the 16th with negative 21. Craig and Meeker saw some moderation during this cold event with cloudiness happening as inversions set up, which is why these coldest cold temperatures actually happened pretty early in this cold outbreak, where areas like Grand Junction and Canyonlands saw it later on in the outbreak. As far as precipitation, good news. It was a very wet month. Almost everybody, with the exception of Canyonlands, came in above normal, and Canyonlands was only 0.02 off of normal, which is, in the grand scheme of things, basically average. Craig came in as our big winner with almost 1.5 inches above normal, with 2.33 inches of precipitation, and as I mentioned, Canyonlands was in at the bottom with just over 0.5 inch of precipitation, but it was only 0.02 of an inch off. So probably there are places in and around Canyonlands Airport that did actually see average precipitation for the month. Probably some sites in Moab, like our co-op sites, probably saw average precipitation for the month. Overall, really good news. and the mountain snowpack is also doing quite well. We'll talk about that one in a minute. First, drought update. Look at that. Look at that. Western Colorado is doing great. We have a large area now in what is affectionately known as D-Nada, which is just no drought. We've still got pockets of D0 or abnormally dry conditions here in southwest Colorado, including the San Juans, and right along the border here in northwest Colorado. The San Juan area, this is particularly due to the fact that a lot of the December storms up until the last 2 or 3 were mainly focused on the northern half of the area, and the San Juans are a little bit under normal. So still significant improvement. Eastern Utah, unfortunately, hasn't seen as much improvement. We've still got these pockets of D3 extreme drought, but we are nibbling away. We are nibbling away at the D2 severe drought. It is pushed further west, and the D1 moderate drought has also been pushed a little bit further west with these pockets of D0 abnormally dry right along the border here, and even some D-Nada making its way into eastern Utah. And hopefully if we remain under these this active storm track and we keep seeing this good moisture, we may even chip away and finally get rid of those stubborn pockets of D3. And the monthly drought outlook does kind of flesh that out a little bit. The areas that are already in D0 and D-Nada going to stay that way. No changes. The areas such as in eastern Utah and southwest Colorado and northwest Colorado looking at mostly drought removal likely or drought remaining but improving. So kind of a continuation of the trend that we've been seeing. Snowpack update. As I mentioned, we're doing pretty good. Western Colorado, we are looking at the Yampa White Little Snake Basin, our northern mountains, at about 140% of normal for the year. Colorado Headwaters and Gunnison Basins, our central mountains here, looking at about 125% of normal. And even the southern mountains, because of those storms at the end of the month of December that really kind of took aim at the San Juans, coming in at just above normal, just above 100%. It's pretty good to see, especially in what is technically a La Nina year, where the northern half of the area is favored. Eastern Utah, same story. Southeastern Utah at about 150% of normal. Duchesne Basin, 150% of normal. Northeastern Uinta is 160% of normal. We're doing pretty good. It was a very good month for moisture. Our January 2022 outlook, temperatures, we're looking at equal chances of above or below normal temperatures. Yeah, I don't got much to elaborate on that one. As far as precipitation is concerned, portions of the southeast portions of our CWA, so like the southern half of the San Juans down into Pacosa Springs along the southern divide there, looking at equal chances of seeing above or below normal precipitation for the month. The rest of the area is seeing odds slightly favoring above normal precipitation, with odds a little bit higher towards above normal precipitation the further north you go. So again, a little bit more of that. They're still kind of favoring that La Nina pattern where the northern mountains do a little bit better than the southern mountains. But with these atmospheric river systems that we've been seeing, and the path that they've been taking and the strength that they've had, they're much more mild systems. They tend to favor southwest flow ahead of it, which does favor the San Juans, which is why we are seeing this pattern show up rather than seeing odds tending towards below normal down here, which in a drier year we might see. So until next month with your January summary, have a good one and enjoy the snow. Enjoy 2023. Happy New Year, everybody.